welcome to another episode of Superhero Sitters. Pet sitters open up about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happy pets. My name is Joshua Carey, co-founder of the APSE, the Association of Pet Sitting Excellence. And this series follows professional pet sitters who have stories to share that may sound heroic, but were really all carried out without a second thought and, as we'll hear, all part of a day's work. In today's program, I'm thrilled to be joined by Jason Hoffman, who is the owner of 203 Pet Service, located in Fairfield, Connecticut. Thanks for taking some time to join us today, Jason.
Oh, you're welcome, Josh. Thank you very much for having me.
Let's begin with a brief insight into how you first became a pet sitter.
I started out working as a veterinary technician in a local animal hospital in Fairfield, Connecticut. And I worked there for approximately 5 years or so, and I really enjoyed my time there, but I just kind of got to the point where I felt as if I had gone about as far as I could go in that industry. And with some support from some friends, and including the practice owner, they all kind of said that maybe I should pursue other things that would pursue some pet sitting. So in 2004, I decided to give it a go, and I started 203 Pet Service. And I haven't looked back since. It's been an amazing ride.
Excellent. Tell me what happened on, I imagine, this day that began like any other day.
So what happened was, this was a new client that I had met with, and they were going away for a winter break. So they hired me to do a basic pet sit, and they had 2 dogs, actually 3 dogs, I'm sorry. And they kept their dogs downstairs in a finished basement they had recently had refinished. So we started out, and the initial visit was, this was a 3-time-a-visit client, and the first visit was a dinner time visit. It was in the winter time, so it was already dark. And when I came into the house, on my way in, I just kind of felt this, I could smell this odor, which was just a foul odor, which just didn't seem right to me. Way back in high school, I used to be a volunteer fireman, and to me, it just smelled off, and I was a little bit concerned about it. So I went down and I went in the house and I checked the stove and made sure the stoves were all off because they had a gas range, and I really went through the house and tried to see if I could find the source, and I couldn't. So I went and I grabbed the dogs, brought them out, walked them for a little while, fed them. They seemed normal, but it just something really didn't seem right. So ultimately I made the decision that it was probably the best thing to do to get in contact with the fire department and see if maybe we could have someone come over with a gas detector and just sniff around and see if they detected anything.
So this was right after your very first visit to this house?
Correct. This was during the dinner time, the first dinner time visit. So I was thinking about it, and I decided, I really didn't want to create a big giant scene. So there was a fire department right down the road. So I just decided to kind of casually drive down to the fire department and just speak with the fireman there, and I just wanted to see if I could get them with a gas detector, because I just wanted to save myself a lot of embarrassment if truly there was nothing wrong. And as it turned out, that fire department wasn't the same district, so they called it in, and they were very nice, and they brought the actual fire department that was in that district over, and they came really quickly, and they came in with their gas detectors and whatnot, and started to kind of sniff out the scene with their detectors to see if there are any problems. Once they started to kind of go up, there's little paths to get to the door that they came in. You could actually, their detectors actually started to detect carbon monoxide, which...
From the outside?
From the outside, correct. Right as they started to get into the door, they actually started to, the detector actually started to show signs. They say that carbon monoxide is an odorless, tasteless gas which can kill you, and I don't know. For some reason, I seem to smell some form of exhaust.
So you were able to smell the carbon monoxide, or something that didn't smell right, and it turned out to be carbon monoxide.
Correct. I guess they decided that the source of the problem was it was an exhaust issue with the furnace in the basement,
where the dogs were staying.
Where the dogs were staying. So all of this was in the basement area.
So the firemen arrive. They immediately detect that there is indeed a carbon monoxide leak. Now you, as pet sitter, have the responsibility of these 3 dogs. What happens next?
Well, at that point, I had to have the dogs taken out of the house. So I leashed them up and basically just kind of hung outside with them because I needed to be there with the fire department there. And they went through the house. They actually isolated the source of the problem, which was the furnace. Once they found that out, they had to contact the owners, which were off in Massachusetts, and they had to turn the furnace off, and so there's no heat in the house, and then they had to vent the house. Once they did all that, they called the gas company to come in and actually disconnect the gas and the furnace and whatnot until they could get it resolved. Luckily, the gas company probably got out there within a couple of hours, which was great, and they did a fabulous job of fixing the problem, and we actually got the heat back on that night, which was great.
Wow, my goodness. So you do what with the dogs at this point? You said you have the dogs outside on leashes while all this is going on. Does that become the rest of your night? Do you take them back to your place? What do you wind up doing with them?
What I ended up doing was I walked them throughout the neighborhood for a little while, and then once they got the area safe enough where we could actually be in the house, I just kind of hung out there with them for a while. Once they had vented the house, it was okay for us to stay. It wasn't the warmest house in the world to be in, but it was certainly warmer than being outside in the cold. So we just kind of hung out there and waited for the gas company to come. When I did speak with the fireman, with the lieutenant, he told me that this was a huge problem, and that if I hadn't done anything, I would have come out and had a couple of dead dogs. If not that later that night, but definitely by morning, they would have not made it. So
this lieutenant told you straight out that if you did not act when you acted, by morning, those dogs would have died?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Based on his readings from his detector. And and the readings up in the more of the living level, the first level, they were high, but once you got into the basement, they were deadly high.
Were the clients thrilled with your course of action?
They were absolutely thrilled. It's one of those things where it's kind of like you hate to have to call a client to tell someone that there's a really emergency at their house, but they were so thankful that not only that I was able to be there and spend time with their pets, but they were thrilled that I was actually able to save their pets.
That's magnificent to hear. And what do you think would have happened if they didn't hire you or they didn't hire a trained professional?
Well, the thing is that sometimes when people have friends or family members, or if they have the kid down the street take care of their pets, sometimes when they sense that something's wrong, sometimes they just turn a blind eye to it. Either they don't have time to deal with the situation, or they're just like, it's not going to be a big deal. And if they had hired a non-professional, I would think that given the situation, it probably would have had a really bad ending. Because when people hire me, they don't hire me just to take care of their pets. They hire us to take care of their pets in their house, and ultimately look out for anything.
Well, it sounds like you are a consummate professional, Jason, and I would like to believe that your volunteer fireman training early on in your high school years, you said, sort of wound up paying off.
Yeah, I think so. It's just those little things in life that you learn and, kind of send that little warning light off in your head telling you that, this might be a dangerous situation. And without that training, I probably, I might not have even recognized it.
And I'm so happy to hear that you didn't take what could have been written off as, how bad can it be? And you really took action just to cover your bases and make sure that the safety of these dogs was the utmost priority. I'm really thankful for you taking the time and sharing your story with us today as well.
No problem, Josh. I'm so happy that I had this opportunity to speak with you today.